All right, we continue the World Cup talk now with Stephen Brunn, who joins us from our Sportsnet studios in Toronto. Now, Stephen, let's start with the hosts. How much pressure is there on Brazil to win this thing at home?
I don't even know how you quantify that, Wilder. It's like nowhere else and nothing else in sport. This game means, well, think about hockey in Canada, and think about what it means here, and think about that sense that we have to win every international hockey tournament. But then talk about a sport that is the passion of everybody on earth, aside from a few North Americans. So, Brazil lives the game. They believe that that the highest expression of the game has been Brazilian teams, especially in the World Cup. They produce some of the greatest players in history. They believe that that trophy is theirs by birthright almost, and you're playing it on home soil for the first time in 64 years. Add that all up, and we're going to see something extraordinary.
Brazilians may think it's their birthright, but it's never an easy path at to the World Cup. But which teams stand in the way of Brazil this year?
I think it depends on whether you buy into the idea that a European team can't win in South America, which historically has been true. That there's a huge advantage for South American teams playing on home soil. If that's the case, we're looking at Argentina for sure, who could meet Brazil in the final. You could kind of have a super South American final. Uruguay, Chile, Colombia. Although in the cases of Chile and Colombia, they would be huge long shots. Of the European teams, you got to start with Spain, who are defending European champions, defending World Cup champions, the greatest team, have been the greatest national team in the world. But there's a sense that maybe they're a little bit past it. And then beyond them, when you're talking World Cup, Italy, Germany. They're always in the conversation. There are injury issues, certainly with Germany. I think there's a sense that this Italian team maybe is not quite as good as some of them have been. But I never count an Italian team out in the World Cup. They often find a way. So those would be the kind of obvious favorites right now going in.
You talked about the big teams there, the big names. Well, let's talk about some of the stars of the World Cup. I mean, even casual soccer fans are familiar with stars like Ronaldo and Messi. But which player people should be giving more attention to?
I think the guy to look out for, because it's Brazil and because they are again the favorites in this tournament, is Neymar, who is their most charismatic player, the scorer. He's young. He's just coming into his own. And I think, really, if Brazil is going to win this tournament at home, we're all going to be talking about Neymar the way people talked about Pele a long time ago.
Just getting back, just quickly, we don't have too much time, getting back to Brazil as the host nation, there's a lot of skepticism about their ability to pull off a successful World Cup. Are we optimistic going into these games?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons to be concerned, because Brazil is a tricky place to do things in any case. Things don't necessarily go by the book in Brazil. There's obviously huge unrest among the unions there. There are strikes. There's a lot of money being thrown at this World Cup and at the Olympics 2 years from now. People are upset about that. There's a lot of political turmoil, and there's a lot of crime in Brazil. It's one of the most dangerous places in the world. But I got to tell you, my experience before Olympics and before World Cups is that we always have these conversations. We had it 4 years ago in South Africa. And once the games begin, that's the only thing that matters. So my guess is that whatever is going on in Brazil right now, and there's a lot, that once the games start, we're going to be talking about soccer.
All right. Thanks, Stephen. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Wilder.